you first. I really love you. I want y'all to switch that key. Y'all ready? Now everybody clap your hands real big. Clap. Put your hands on it, everybody. Put your hands on it real big. Y'all ain't clapping in the back. I want you to do the real big clap right here. Everybody clap, clap, clap. Put your hands on. There we go. Come on, clap your hands. Let's do it together. I really love you. Everybody lift your voice. I really love you. Hey, because you first. I really love you. I'm gonna do a verse. Clap your hands real big. Let's go. How can you love me knowing all the things I've done? And then you show me when you gave your only son. I really love you. I really love you. Yes, I do. How can you love me knowing all the things I've done? And then you show me when you gave. Hey, I really love you. We back at the top. I really love you. Let's go. Feels like a summer day in here. I really. Hey, because you first. I really love you. Let me see if they sing it. Y'all sing. I really love. Let's go. Sing, church. I really love you. You better chill, man. Because. Hey, I really love you. Let's do a verse again. Clap your hands real big. Hey, how can you love me? Knowing all the things I've done. And then you show me when you gave your only son. I really love it. I really Oh, yes, I love you with all my soul. Y'all are singing to I really love. Let them do it one more time. Hit me, CK. Oh, yes, I. Y'all better sing. Ooh. I really love you. I'm coming back there. One more time. Let's do it together, everybody. Come on. Oh, yes, sir. With all my. Yeah. Because you said. Hey, I really love. Last time. Last time. Last time. Hey. Oh, yes, sir. With some. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. With all my soul. Because you said. I really love you. In that format right here. Hey, and I love you, dear. Hey, and I worship and adore you. Sing, church. I love you, dear. Hey, I worship. Just wanna tell, Lord, I love you. You've been so good. I love you, dear. I worship. Just wanna.
right, can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
All right, all right. Had a little technical difficulty here for a minute. All right, I'm sorry about that. I was saying that we have a very distinguished show tonight coming up. We have uh, Apostle Clay, who has been with us throughout these podcasts, and I have another distinguished guest tonight. Uh, we have Joanne Wallace, and she's with us tonight. She's also another authority on domestic violence. I want Joanne to unmute her mic as well. And Joanne has firsthand knowledge and firsthand experience at working with women in her different capacities of her job and just in her regular life. I work with women firsthand, literally hands-on experience helping women get through these issues, listening, talking, comforting, and dealing with women who have had problems, who have really been dealing with a lot of issues with domestic violence. She's a very good authority on that. We're going to hear from her as well. But before we get started, Pastor Cliff, would you just start us off with just a quick moment of prayer, please?
Yes. Father in heaven, Lord, we humbly come before your presence, oh Lord. We thank you for being in the midst of all these podcasts. We thank you for the audience that we're ministering to. Lord, we ask you to continue to minister through us, oh God, that people's lives will be changed, that we will give them the resources and the help that's needed. It is in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I do hope that you guys have really been enjoying what we have been giving here on these podcasts. And really hope and pray that these podcasts have really been helping people along in their lives, especially with the things that they've been going through. I want to be sure that when we get started tonight, Apostle Clay, would you just give us a little synopsis? Let's do a little recap to kind of bring us up to where we have what we've talked about in the past. Give us a little synopsis of where we've been up to this moment to where we are. And then after that, I'm gonna turn it over to you, and I'm gonna turn it over to Joanne and let y'all kind of dialogue. Let's hear from her and from you about where we're going to go tonight, what our topics are. You can let them know what our topics are. And I do have one slide that we'll post this. I'll post this slide um, just to kind of give you guys an idea of some of the things that we'll be talking about tonight later on. And some of what we'll be talking about later on are different non-lethal resources of self-defense that women can have and they can use to help them even feel a little bit more safer. You know, sometimes y'all, it's always better to feel safer when you know that you have something that you can really at least protect yourself with. Okay. All right. So what we're going to do? Let's go ahead and get started. So I'm asking Clay to go ahead and give us a synopsis of where we've been so far and what's going on, and then we'll bring it up to speed, and then I'll turn it over after that, and then you and Joanne can dial up. We'll let Joanne start with her. You know, let her give her story, and y'all just work it. Okay, go for it. There you go. It's all
All
good.
right. All right. We want to thank everyone for joining, and we welcome you back to Divine Dialogue. We first started talking about domestic abuse in the church. The topics we had was um, my husband, the pastor, he beats me. What do I do from here? We transitioned to the second week because we brought out a lot of different topics about fear and how we overcome fear in those type of situations. And then from fear, we went to what does it look like? Who does this person look like? Um, what type of woman is she that would be involved or be in this type of situation? It could be any one of us that we have no look. We've talked about that. And tonight from last week, we talked about resources and what type of resources can we provide here to help people in this journey, whether it be self-defense resources, resources of how to get out, and then just knowing that there are resources available on a city level, a state level, and then national. We want to make sure that we give you all the information regarding that. Tonight, we're going to talk about some resources, but we're also going to talk about one of the topics that we're going to discuss tonight after Joanne comes and introduces herself and shares with us a little bit about her story and her testimony. We're going to talk about being in a one person love affair. How in this relationship you're 9 times out of 10 the only one that's still experiencing or giving out any type of true love, and being in a love affair with just you being that person. And at this time, we're going to yield the floor to Joanne as she comes and introduce herself and just shares with us some of her experience and her testimony.
So good evening, and thank you, ma'am, and thank you, Apostle Hill and Apostle Clay, for inviting me. Anytime I can get a chance to talk to people, women, people who look like me, um, it's always a pleasure and an honor. As I think about and listen about your past topics, um, it's just really interesting when we talk about fear, and those are the things and how fear can trap you, almost like a prison, and what things look like and what people look like. And when I tell people, about me, what I do, and Apostle Hill will tell you that I don't tell a lot of people what I do. I'm in the background. I kind of stay in the back. That's what I like to do, and support people from the back so I can just watch them. I'm an observer by not only nature, by profession. So when I hear about fear, fear to me is false evidence appearing real. And when you look at the evidence of things that go on in your life, around your life, and I'm a firm believer that if the devil can't get to you, he'll get to the people that you love, your kids, your spouse, work,
That's right.
anything that you care about. Devil's gonna, because he can't get to you. So I don't allow false evidence to appear real to me. And sometimes you got to go in the fire so you can come out like pure gold. That's how diamonds are made. They're made out of fire. They're made out of rough things. And they come out and they're stronger. And let me just start by, if you hear in the background, you might hear my dad singing. I'm the caretaker of my father. He's 93 years old. He has
All
dementia,
right.
but he
Amen.
is he is my daddy baby. And I've been caring for him since my mom passed in 21 from COVID. So it's a lot of things that have gone on in my life that people don't know. So when they say what things look like, and I ask people, they say, well, when I tell you what I do, they say, well, you don't look like that. I'm like, well, what do they look like? I'm interested. So just a little bit about me. I'm 53 years old. I have one adult child. He's 35 years old. He decided to make me a grandmother a couple of years ago, which she is the joy of my life. But he is about to be married in August. And as
Wow.
you say, I take care of my dad. And but I'm actually a 27-year veteran of the Baltimore City Police Department. I am a captain. I currently work in special events, but I've been all over the department. One of my most rewarding were starting the homeless outreach team here in Baltimore. Domestic violence is where I worked, where I started out before I even came to the department. And then child abuse detective, I've worked in internal affairs. So I've been around a lot. And now as I look towards retirement and doing something different after all these years, I am on the peer support team here in Baltimore, which is actually a national renown support system that we have for officers. Because when people say, well, you don't look like a police, but they don't know that we deal with traumatic events every day, every call
Yeah.
that we go to, everything that we take in, and we have to learn how to release those things before we get home to our spouses, before we get home to our children, before we get home to our everyday life, because we're human beings. And I employ anyone to figure out what we do, how we do, and when we do. And being a black female, also being a minority and a female in Baltimore City, in a metropolitan city, I think I've done pretty well with my career. Um, I am currently in a PhD study. I'll be finished my PhD at the end of the summer, so I'm looking forward to defending that. And that I know that as a teenage parent coming from a two-parent home where that was not talked about. That was something my mother tried to kill me when I came home 16 years old pregnant. And to hear people tell you, well, you're not going to do anything, you're just going to be a statistics. Those things only push me to do better and to model myself and my career after somebody that not only my son can be proud of, but that my parents and God can be proud of. So um, those are things. So when I talk about my testimony, and of course, Apostle Hill will know that when we talk about, oh, the pastor, he beats me. How do I get
Right.
out? You know?
Right.
So
Right.
I mean, a lot of people don't know. I can talk about it now. So God heals you when you can talk about things and it doesn't affect you. You don't
Right.
fall apart, that you can use it as a testimony. But I actually met my husband in Apostle Hill's church. Met him, fell in love with him, uh, thought I was doing everything right. And I married him. He was a pastor of a very large church. I blame Pastor Hill for this because he should have warned me. He should have warned me. He told me he was my friend. But no, He was a very nice man, very decent man from a good family. And we married in 2005 in August, July. When did we get married? July. See what I mean? July 29th, 2005. I married him. And I thought I married my best friend, pastor of a church. And I got to see the ins and outs of what ministry, what I thought it was about, but it was not
Right,
about that at all.
right,
And when we
right.
hear about domestic violence and we hear about abuse, when you're married to a pastor, an apostle, or anybody in that in the religious field, you give that person over to the members of your church. And you have to be secure in understanding what you're giving up. But then the protection mode of how people look at them, whether it be your husband, your wife, your spouse, your partner, or whomever. So when we talk about domestic violence, and as I told Apostle Hill and Clay, I didn't have a husband that beat me because I'm a fighter. I fight back, but because I'm from Baltimore, Park Heights, and
Right.
so but verbal abuse and other things are the same thing. It's abuse. Any way that you look at it, it's abuse. So I married my husband July 29th. Within 30 days, by October, I was gone. Gone. Had a $20,000, $30,000 miracle, beautiful wedding. Everything I ever dreamed of. And that dream was not a
Yep.
reality for me. So when I found out different things about my husband and somebody that I thought I knew, you definitely put blinders on. And as I told Apostle Clay and them last night, love will make you do crazy things. Love will make you put blinders on. And within this relationship, the child that I had when I was married, my son was 16, because I didn't date, I didn't do any of those things to protect him from the in and out and tried to live my life the way that I should have lived it for him as a single parent. And so when to protect my ex-husband at the time, I did things, I stayed in a relationship that I knew wasn't healthy for me. But at the time we had also adopted two boys that were 18 months and 2 years old, that I still to this day am the only mother that they know. So out of that relationship, I did bring home two more children. One of them will be 21 on Saturday. So that relationship that I thought that I wasn't going to have with my boys, I had. And we found out that they were natural brothers. So I had to plan my escape because now I'm thinking about my career, some of the things that were going on with me and him. I protected him even down to when I filed for divorce, and that I divorced him with an absolute divorce and not an annulment, because my wedding and my marriage was not even consummated, nor was it even recognized. Because I don't even think I turned the papers in. But I was still married to this man, and I made a commitment because I came from a home where my parents were married 70 years before my mom passed away.
Yep.
So I didn't know anything about when you got married and you stayed married. So when we talk about how do we get out, I had to plan my way of out. I had to make sure that I protected not only myself and my kids, but my career. Because a lot of people know being in law enforcement, you only have to make one phone call to
Yep.
destroy a person's career and everything that's going on. And it's your word against theirs. So I had to plan it. And also, I had to plan it that he had made a relationship with my son. And, I remember now just clearly my son, like, Mom, is it okay if I have a relationship with Pops? I'm like, this has nothing to do with you and him. It has everything to do with me and him. So you have to, it's not something that you can just walk away from, because I had my picture, my face floating around town. First lady. This is first lady. They used to call me Medea because they knew I was a gun toting first lady. So that was the joke of the town when I was when I
Right.
was married to him. But I'm actually in Apostle Hill will tell you I'm probably I'm the last one you have to worry about. I'll give you the shirt off of my back to try to help anybody. So I
Yep.
try to mentor women. I ran teen pregnancy groups because I had people tell me when I was pregnant and a teenager that I was just going to be a statistic. And my thing is, you can't tell me where I'm going if you've never been where I've been. So how am I going to mentor teens and you've never been a teen? You've never been a teen parent. How can I mentor women who've been through domestic issues if you've never been through domestic issues? So whether it's verbal, physical, there are ways out. You plan, you get support systems. You have people who are friends, and I don't use that word loosely. When you have a friend, that's somebody that's going to support you. They're not going to judge you. Late in the midnight hour, you need to make that phone call. So, and I am that friend to some people. I've been through people who have been through domestic issues and things like that, and have been that friend, have been that hiding place. that you need to go when all else is well. There are phone calls that can be made. When people say that you need to use the legal system where you have the protective orders and the ex parte orders. Yeah, there are pieces of paper, but they're documentations and they're paper trails. You also had the National Domestic Violence Abuse Hotline that you can call, that you can text. Most police departments, and I know here in Baltimore, we have victim advocates where they're anonymous, where you can call. We had the House of Root. We have different avenues, friends, family support. And I always look to family ties because that's where you're comfortable and that's where you can find solace. Because when you're going through these kind of issues, trauma is real.
Yes.
Trauma is real. And we have so many people that are dealing with undiagnosed, unresolved trauma. And then you take that trauma and then you put it on other people. So my goal in life, and I've gone through enough studies and enough training to focus on trauma, to focus on how to deal with unresolved trauma and how to recognize the signs and ask the appropriate questions. So trauma informed care is something that I tell anyone that is the best training I ever took was trauma informed care. And the training was so good that I teach it because you need it. And not only for your work life, but for your personal life, because those are things that you carry into your home and how you live every day. And for a place like the police department, church, and places where you spend more time there than you do at home, you have to understand how to deal with these traumas in your life.
Can
And
you
how
can you
to,
can you go into a little bit more the detail about this trauma informed care? I mean, that sounds like it's really important. People really need to learn a little bit about that.
so trauma informed care is just a way of asking the appropriate questions, not what happened to you, but how did it happen? And what can I do for you? Because you have to understand that when you're speaking to people, you have to be able to ask the appropriate questions that are not triggers. And
Yeah.
with trauma informed care, you're learning what the triggers are, what the trigger words are, how to deal with certain people. When we talk about domestic abuse, it says, "Oh, yes, I'm ready to go." But then you have to think about, is the perpetrator the money maker in the house? Is the perpetrator somebody that you're scared of?
Right.
That could be the person that you depend on, the father of your children, the mother of your children, because it's not just men, it's women too.
Women too.
So is this person, are we tied together with children, homes, cars, property? I mean,
Yes.
going through a divorce is not something that's easy. It's not something that's planned. And then if you have, especially if you have children, you're tied to this person for the rest of your life.
Right.
So these are the right, the questions that you have to answer. So trauma informed care is being able to ask the appropriate questions to get the answers that you need.
Mhm.
So that's what trauma informed care is. It's a 40-hour class that we teach that I'm hoping that everybody can get. I've also teach mental health first aid, which is being able to understand why you feel the way you feel and that it's okay not to be okay. It is
Right.
okay not to be okay. But are you able to reach out to these resources and to reach out to family, counselors? I am an advocate of counseling. I will lay on anybody's couch prostrate, naked, whatever it takes to try to talk it out. And sometimes you need a neutral party
Right.
because you
Hmm.
can't talk to a perpetrator who's hurting you. And I've
Mhm.
said to people one time, and I live on it, it's my quote, I write it in my Bible, hurt people hurt people.
Yes.
And
Yes, they
until
do.
you heal yourself, you're no good for anybody. And especially if you have children, they feed off of that energy.
Yes.
You take
Yes.
this to work and you wonder why. Right now for me, work is a disaster for me right now. I'm in a place right now at work where I just have to take God and I have to take things because we're in a transition phase right now at work. But I understand now that I'm in a spiritual warfare of my own right now. And
Hmm.
that I know that this is a test. And sometimes God has to make you so uncomfortable that you know that there's a blessing on the other side of this comfort zone that we're
Right.
sitting in. And when we build up walls, I tell people don't build up a wall because you can't see over a wall. Build a fence. If you
Yeah.
need some protection, build a fence because at least you can see over the fence.
Right.
You can see through the fence, but
That's
it's still going
important.
to protect you from what you're trying to run from until you deal with the trauma and whatever this is that you're dealing with and come out like pure gold.
Yes.
So
That's a very
it's
important
just being
statement.
able to understand who you are and whose you are.
Mhm.
And it will get you through there with the resources and the support and the help and to be patient. And I tell people patience. Patience is nothing but God's love in slow motion. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Just being patient and working with them and looking for the correct answers and waiting for God to speak to you and show you the way. Because as I tell people, I don't have to look for anything.
Mhm.
If it's supposed to be revealed to me, God's going to show me where it is.
That's right.
And I don't have to go looking for it. I don't have to ask for any questions. It's going to come to you. It's going to be so right there in your face. You're going to be like, wow, it's
Yeah.
been here all the time.
Mhm.
But when we take down those blinders and we wonder how we're going to get out in church, Apostle Hill will tell you, I was angry at God for a long time.
Yeah.
I wrestled with him. I fought with him. I couldn't win. I knew I couldn't win, but I thought I'd try. But
Yeah.
I wrestled with him. Why would you put me here? And I know I came into my husband's life for a reason and a season. So we
Right.
have to figure out who these people are in our lives that are in here for three reasons. They're for a reason, a season, or a lifetime.
Right.
You have to decide where that person fits in your life
Yeah.
and what information you share with them, because there's a lot of things that I could not share about
Mhm.
my marriage because I was married to a pastor and I had to protect him in the church. And I even told Apostle Clay last night, to see a church turn on you for a
Mhm.
man,
Yeah.
you feel all alone and by yourself.
Mhm.
And there's certain things that you're not going to deal with. And I consider myself a very strong woman, but there's some days that you don't want to be strong.
Right.
And you want the people who said that they were going to support you and stand up for you. I had 26 people in my wedding party, and I don't think I could count one that supported me when I was going through my domestic situation. Not one. And they were pastors, preachers, teachers who could jump up and sing hallelujah louder than the church choir. And when I needed them, they were not there for me. So you feel lonely and you feel abandoned. But you got to know there's a friend that sticks closer than a brother. And that's who I depended on when I was going through what I was going through.
But you
And
know,
that,
let me jump in real quick since
uh-huh,
since you're at that avenue right there, and since you and I have a personal relationship, we've been knowing each other for a very long time. You know, and the statement I'm about to make, I want everybody to really think about something, because you really got to understand what she just said.
Mhm.
She talked about protection, how I had to protect him, how I had to protect the institution of the church, right? And many times, people that know me have heard me say that, it's a big, one of the greatest challenges in life you're going to face is how you handle people that mishandle you.
Yeah. Mhm.
That's important.
Mhm.
It's it's very important to understand. The greatest challenge in our life is how we handle people who mishandled us.
Yeah.
And since we're at this juncture, you know, when I think about Joanne Wallace and all the things that transpired, I literally watched her handle correctly the people that mishandled her. And for a long time, that blew my mind, right? Because as a people, we are so innate to want to get back at people who we feel have done us wrong.
Mhm.
And I don't care how saved you are, I don't care how long you've been in church, I don't care how good you speak in tongues. There's something inside of you that wants to get back at people who've done you wrong.
Absolutely.
Now, I'm gonna say this. When it comes to Joanne Wallace, even in her bitterness, she was a strong woman. Even in her point when people were not supporting her, she still supported them.
yep,
You see, because it's one thing when you don't have evidence, and it's another thing when you have evidence. You see, it's one thing when you have a truthful story, and then when you don't have a truthful story. And many of you, and I want y'all to hear this. Many people, many of y'all out there, y'all have evidence, you have truthful stories,
Mhm.
and you will use that evidence and truthful stories to get back at the people that you felt like hurt you. You
Yeah.
gotta stop doing that.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
person right there in front of you is a person.
Yeah.
that handled people that handled her the wrong way.
Yeah.
Because truth be told, she could have blew the roof. Am I telling the truth, Joanne?
Yes, you are. You know, we
She could
talked
have
about it.
blew the roof. That's right. She could have blew the entire roof off. But because she cared about the church, because she cared about the sanctity of what marriage meant to her. And see that's how you know when you are really a grown folk. You're
Yeah.
a really grown person. When you can handle your own tongue.
Mhm.
See, a lot of people can't handle their own tongue.
Mhm.
But she's a living witness of and I wish people would take lessons from what she's saying today. She's
Yes.
a person that handled her tongue in the right way, and what she did might didn't bless anybody else, but I promise you, it gave glory to God.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it did. Go ahead.
If there's a first lady out there in the audience, Joanne, what one word of inspiration would you be able to give them tonight?
So if there are any first ladies, and it is mighty strange, Apostle Clay, because there are first ladies that I have spoken to during, afterwards, and still now
Mm-hmm.
that were dealing with the same, if not worse, than
Yes.
I dealt with. And
Mhm.
it, it's no need to even talk about what the situation was.
Right.
But I have spoken to them, and the one thing I can say to them is that take the blinders off.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
Put your plan in order.
Mhm.
Be able to sit down, because I offered counseling. I went to counseling with my husband one time, and I knew then he was never going back, and he didn't.
Right.
But get yourself in order for yourself.
For yourself.
And if you have a family, for your family. And as Apostle Hill said, yeah, it hurts.
Mhm.
I'm bitter because, listen, I had some plans in motion where I was going to put some things that I had in the Sunday program. Oh, I was in it to win it. Now listen,
Right.
I was in it to win it. I was going to
Right.
hire an airplane, fly
Right.
across the sky.
That's
Listen,
right.
they named the street after him. I was going to put
Yeah.
up a street sign. I was here for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what was that going to do for not only him, because I knew he was fighting a demon that he couldn't even control.
Right.
So what I would say to the first ladies is keep your eyes open,
Mhm.
put your plan in effect, work on it, because marriage is not something that you enter into lightly.
Right.
But the Lord also didn't make us to be here to be abused.
That's right.
He didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And that it will affect not only your mental health, but it'll
Mhm.
affect you mentally, physically. I lost weight. My head was down my back. My hair,
Mhm.
it was so many things. And I would say, get yourself together.
Yeah.
If he doesn't want to go to counseling, you go to counseling for yourself.
Yourself.
You
That
get
that
yourself and your mind together and get it right. And then, and only then, you decide what will work for you, and
absolutely.
where you will have peace in your heart and your mind and your soul, because my decision to walk away might not be your decision.
Mm-hmm.
It might not be
Right.
what you can do, but just know that you're never stuck.
Right.
And when the church turns against you, because they will, if they find out, they will, because they worship the person. They don't worship the church. They worship the person, the
Right.
human being, be it
Right.
male and or female.
Yeah.
And just be prepared for that and guard yourself from that.
Mm-hmm.
But also just keep your eyes open
Mm-hmm.
and take care of yourself. Put some money aside to yourself. Always have your
Yeah.
own.
We
Yeah.
talked about this.
Always.
Yeah.
Always have something that is yours, that is accounted for.
Mm-hmm.
And I sit here and I think back of not missing the signs. You
Mhm.
know, I remember going to make a deposit for him, and I saw the receipt and I said, "Oh, really?" So you just gotta put, and that's my investigative nature. That's me by nature and profession.
Mhm.
But it's get your ducks in a row.
Right.
Have everything, because if you have to make that quick exit, you
Mhm.
have everything lined up.
Yes.
I, on the other hand, was not dependent on a man to
Mhm.
do anything for me, because I could take care of myself.
Right.
We had just built a $700,000 home.
Yep.
We had just moved to a $700,000 home. All
Yep.
I wanted from that was one penny over what it was sold for. As a matter of fact, I didn't even want that. I left. You can have the house, the cars, you can have it
Sure
all.
did.
And I remember people telling me, "You gonna leave that big pretty house? I don't need a house. I need a home that's happy,
Right.
that I can walk into, and I want to be there." And I didn't want to be there anymore. And I tried. I tried to change him. And
Yep.
I'll tell these first ladies, first men, whoever, you can't change nobody but
Nobody.
yourself.
Yes.
And Apostle Hill will tell you, I tried everything to
Yep.
change him. But within our situation, he found a testimony. He found a testimony in his own life. So for that, I was grateful. And I was also grateful that he could ask me to forgive him. That meant everything to me.
Yeah, that's it right
That
there.
meant everything to me,
Yes.
that if none of this was done in vain. And we had also talked about getting back together after all was said and done. By the grace, he's not here anymore. And it broke my heart. It broke my heart because he was literally my best friend,
Mhm.
but he was not my friend. I was in a loveless marriage. And
Right.
what he was looking for was a mother to his children. So I praise God just for that and these boys, and to see them now at 21 and 22, and my son at 35, and they are still the best of brothers, the best of friends. And I was separated. The hardest thing that happened for me was to walk away from my children. And that was the children that we adopted in my marriage, not my son.
Mhm.
But the hardest thing was for me to walk away, but I was no good for them. And to have his sister call me when he passed, and the children saying that the only one that they want is you. So it brought about a wonderful relationship with myself and his sister. And we remained friends because he had one sister out of the six of them that I could call a friend. And she was a part of my support system, and that was her brother.
Yeah.
So I'm so happy for that I got to be able to be a part of my boys' lives. And I was distant from them for years, but I had to get myself together before I could actually be anything good for the boys.
That's
So
amazing.
I just will say,
Absolutely.
just keep an open mind
Hmm.
and do what's best for you. And if I can ever be of any help or assistance, or just that shoulder to lean on, it's a different world being a first lady or a first man. It's
Oh
a
yeah.
it's a
It is.
it's a lot. It's a lot. And
Yeah.
I was not prepared for it, but I went into it, I think, with grace, and I went into it, and I think I handled it with grace.
Hmm. Yeah. One of the things that you said was it not only affects you mentally, but it affects you physically and medically. That's one of the things that we miss. One of the signs when you are a fairly healthy person and all of a sudden you're having all these symptomatic issues going on in your life. That was one of the things that my medical provider asked me, was did I have a stressful job? And I said no, and I shared with him what was going on in my marriage. And that was the one thing that he said to me, what you have just spoken to us is go to counseling for you if he won't, because again, like you have spoken, we have to make sure that we're okay, to be able to, for ourselves and for anyone else, as we can continue to process through what our season is of domestic situations. So
Mhm.
we thank you for that. I think we've touched most of the topics, except for really digging off into this one-sided love affair.
Mm.
um, if we want to kind of dialogue on this one-sided love affair, one of the things that I always said was when I was trying to help fight in my marriage was you can't box with one person in the ring. It has to be two people trying to fight to get to the ultimate result of reconciliation in the marriage. And if you would just kind of share a little bit of that in along those lines with us tonight.
Hey, Apostle Clay, wait 1 second, right? Let me jump in real quick. So, when you just talked about this one-sided love affair, that's some amazing stuff, man, because it's so true. And then Joanne kind of said the same kind of thing. So, how about this? Can you, Apostle Clay, give us a short synopsis of what your one-sided love affair situation looked like? and then Joanne's going to turn around and give you almost like kind of analyze that and compare it to hers, and let's see what we can come out with.
Okay, okay. Um, One-sided love affair for me was the dating period of our relationship was everything. You couldn't have told me that I wasn't protected. You couldn't have told me I wasn't provided for. You couldn't tell me that he wasn't going to be a priest in our home. He supported me in ministry. He drove me to preaching engagements. He was everything. But 3 days in, 3 days after my name changed, it became a one-sided love affair.
Oh
Because
my
from
God.
that point
Three
on,
days.
3 days in, I kid you not, 3 days in, it was the Lord gave me instructions, and He said, share with him that you all are to pray together every night, not just you pray and I'm on this side of the bed and you on that side of the bed, but we were to pray together every night. The third night, he said, I don't want to do this anymore. And from that moment on, things begin to change. So I was in this love affair and in this marriage all by myself, because at that point he checked out.
Wow.
He checked out in every aspect, emotionally, financially. He decided he wasn't going to pay any bills. When we dated, he walked in and handed me his credit card, pay your bills.
My.
So when we got married, he wasn't paying any bills anymore.
Oh,
So all that of my one-sided love affair lasted for another 18 months, because I tried to fight. I got in the ring. I tried to restore. I tried to build. I prayed. I cried. I asked God. I was 46 and he was 56. First time I'd been married, first time he'd been married. So I asked God, fix him if it's him, fix me if it's me, but fix us. I mean, if it's not to be fixed, give me an exit plan. And
Right.
that's exactly what he did.
Are you sure we didn't marry brothers?
I tell you,
You sure?
Right.
Wow. So the same with me, Apostle Clay. So as I said, the one sitting behind next to you on the screen, I met him in church, in a church service. And Apostle Hill will tell you, I didn't come for that man. He came for me.
He sure did. And listen,
I
I remember that clip. We were in service, and we
remember.
really literally started joking about that. I was like, "Yeah, he got a nice man for you, Joanne, nice man." And I didn't think no more of it, But then it kind of just spiraled down from that.
Yes,
So I
it
do feel a
did.
little
And
responsible.
I didn't tell Apostle Hill at the time
Right.
that we were even dating, because I didn't pay it any mind, but that man tracked me down.
Right.
And literally we dated for 3 years. When I say I married my best friend, I thought I married my best friend.
yes.
That man wined me, dined me, gave me anything I wanted. And it was longer than 3 days. But I swear to you, I mean, help me plan this wedding. I mean, the wedding was
Yeah.
phenomenal. It was the talk of the town in 2005. There were over 500 people at my wedding.
Wow.
It had to be. We had to have it at another location. That's how big it was. And Pastor Apostle Hill, I think you were out of town the
Yep.
weekend we got married.
Yep.
So, and
Yep.
as a matter of fact, a very good friend of it was his best man. When I tell you we had a bridal shower at a mansion, I mean, it was everything. So we went on our honeymoon. Now, like I said, y'all had to listen to my story.
Go and tell it. Just go and tell it, Joe. Go and tell it.
I didn't. I never consummated my wedding, and I'm telling you
Right.
how God is a protector.
Right.
God, it covers you from things that you don't even know, because we had talked about kids. We
Right.
had names picked out. And I was excited. I was 36 years old. I'm like, the time clock is kicking. I got to kick these babies out real quick.
Right.
Didn't happen. So you got 3 days. I ain't even get 3 days. By the time I got 2 days, I got married on a Friday. He checked out on that Sunday when we got to the Bahamas, which was a trip given to us by somebody's then best friend. by the time by the time we got back from the Bahamas, he had checked out. The phone started
Wow.
ringing. It was hard. I walked away from my family, and Pastor Hill tell you he knew my mother and my father. And my
Yep.
mother, God rest her soul, was like, "Don't do it." And for me, it was me showing that I can do this. I got this, man. I got this. And it was horrible. It was by the time we got home, the phone started ringing. Who are you? I'm Joanne. Who are you? I'm his wife. You know, I'm happy. I hyphenated my name, the whole 9 yards.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Yep.
And it went downhill from there. I was like, well, maybe he's just overworked. He's never home. I had these babies. Now, my son was 16. Now I have a 2 and a 3-year old. But I'm like, I'm the only mother that they know. So here I go. And let me see, July, by October, we were done. And I was like, somebody got to go or somebody's going to get hurt in here. And the lies, it was, and then
Right.
the church people, then it was, I didn't clean house. I didn't take care of him. First of all, anybody knows me knows I'm OCD. You can eat
Right.
off my
Right.
floors. And
Right.
I mean, I would come home from work and you said you go on one side of the bed. I was in my room. I had my room. He had his room. So, and I came home to a lot, and I stayed in it for 18 months while I planned my exit. While we were building a house, I'm like,
Yep.
oh my Lord, what am I going to do? And to come home, and you know, I've flown places to find him, to find different things out. Oh, I'm a good
Yep.
investigator. I'm very
Yeah.
good at what I do.
Yeah.
And I've taken red eyes to Las Vegas to the pastors convention. I ain't never heard of
Right.
the pastors
Right.
convention in Vegas.
Right.
So
Right. Yeah.
when I
Hey,
show up
hey,
in
hey,
Vegas,
Joanne, can you tell the women about, every now and then, sometimes them voicemails will help too when you listen to them.
oh listen, when you get the when you get the passcode on the phone, and all you got to do is look at the fingerprint marks on the phone. Listen, you got to learn. You got to be smart, ladies. I'm telling you, you got to think. So, and you forward the phone calls and the messages to your phone, and you get them, and you know where they're gonna be. So I'm gonna be there at the same time. Oh, indeed, I'm setting the stage because I know divorce court is
Oh,
gonna be hot. It's gonna be hot.
right.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
but listen, it was a lot, but I just, I planned it, and it's only up to Apostle Hill if you all really want to know what my story was. That was not only painful but embarrassing. So, and I haven't discussed it. I can talk about it now, but then I could not talk about it. But it's only up to him if he wants me to divulge what it was.
Hey, we're here to be real, to keep it real. I mean, that's how we talk. This is everything.
So,
Like, people need that.
Yeah.
right. So I
So
will say to
be
you,
yourself. Go for it.
I was asked to write a book about my marriage to a pastor. But to marry a man and to find out that they are gay is the worst kind of trauma and heartache that you could ever find in your life. And as I call him Pastor Hill, but I've always known him that. But as Apostle Hill will tell you, my plan was to destroy him, and I did not.
And she
I did
didn't do
not.
it.
What I tried to do was save him,
She didn't do it.
and
Yep.
through that, I
Yep.
found his own testimony that his own family didn't know about,
Yep. Yep.
which was heart wrenching. So it was a lot. It was a lot. So when I say he checked out on day 2, he was checked out before we even got married. I
Right.
was married. I was a picture of what it was supposed to look like for the church. And when I say the church was huge,
Yeah.
it was huge. And Apostle Hill will tell you, I went to church one day at 10 o'clock in the morning. I was still at church at 9 o'clock at night. I was like, what is this? I'm
Right.
like,
Right.
I don't stay in church this long, but it was to support him. And I sat there Sunday after Sunday on that front row with a smile on my face, but in the back of my mind, planning my exit. And his family turned on me, the church turned on me, but I never told the church. They knew, but it has to be your fault. So you have to be able to take that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You have to be able to
Right.
take it.
Yeah.
Right.
But
Right.
it was a learning lesson. It has made me the strong woman that I am today. I know that when he asked me to forgive him, everything else was erased. It was erased.
Yeah.
And I wish I had more time with him because I think we would have been able to be very good friends. I would not have stayed married to him because I could not. But I believe we would have reconciled as friends. And
Yeah.
so I left that between him and I. And even going to his funeral, I couldn't even do that. I walked in and walked out. And some of the things that I walked into inside of my marriage, going home and finding him there with another man, I was on my way to jail, and I couldn't do it. It wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth my kids. It wasn't worth me and my friends.
Right.
Right.
It
Right.
wasn't, because he was dealing with his own demons.
Yeah.
And sometimes, now that you want to put that out there, sometimes y'all, things happen in life, and sometimes, the Bible says God will not put more on you than you can bear, right?
Mhm.
But sometimes it's like Joanne just said, she had a lot to think about. She
Mhm.
had her career, her family, herself. And when you think about this whole situation, as she said, she really protected him and the church. But also, and another side of this was, even in the back of his mind, even though he knew he was wrong, he knew it 10,000%. In a sense, he wanted to have what the church would look like on the outside, but in a sense, he protected her too. Why? Because she told you the marriage was never consummated. Never. You see? So sometimes, man, and then there's one more way to look at this. Sometimes people who are your best friends, or who really want to be your best friends, will protect you from things that they know are not good for you. And
Yes.
as people, we always have a way of always talking about people who are not good. Oh, he's not good for me. She's not good for me. They're not good for me. But then you got to flip that and ask the other question: how about you not good for them?
Yeah. Hmm.
How about who are you not good for?
Right.
And are you willing to make the statement that you're not good for some people because of your ways, your attitudes, your habits, anything about that pertains to you that really could affect somebody else adversely? Are you strong enough to say that I'm not good for them?
Hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Go ahead, Apostle Clay.
No, yeah, I was enjoying what you were saying, and that is so true. So many times we look at the other person, but we never look at ourselves, and that's where sometimes the problems begin when we know, you know, I don't need to be here. I need to move around because it's not going to be any benefit in it for the other person, and we have to be honest within ourselves to know that I'm not going to be good for you because these are the things I can't deal with. But then sometimes we accept things because we want what it looks like, and
Right.
not
That's it right there.
necessarily what it is. We
Mm-hmm.
want the picture. A lot of times people look at pastors and look at churches and look at the suits and the cars and the diamonds and rings and stuff, and they see all these things, but they don't understand the backside of that pulpit is real dirty.
Right. Say that one more time. Just say it again.
Yeah, the backside of the pulpit is real dirty. Yeah, so
Woo.
don't get caught up in what you see.
Hey, Joanne.
Pastor working. I mean, wearing or what they look like, because on the other side of that pulpit,
Hey, Joanne. When she come back, I'm telling you, Pastor Clay, you just said something right there, right? Because Joanne, I hope you heard her. Now, Joanne, now that should be one of the chapters in your book. What she just said, the backside of the pulpit is dirty. Mm. Oh, I can't. We can't hear you. I can't hear you. Can't hear you, Joanne. Oh my goodness. Ain't no but the devil. Ain't no but the devil.
that's it. Somebody's getting delivered tonight. Somebody's getting delivered tonight.
Somebody get it, man. We still can't hear you. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Check your
Yeah, she'll come back in.
sorry, she'll be back. You know what I'm
Yeah, she'll
saying?
come back in.
But but
Yeah,
but 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 that's such an important statement,
yeah,
and it's almost like when you meet a person, you meet people, sometimes we have to really face the fact that the person that we meet, and the first time we meet that person, we're not meeting the real person, we're meeting that person's representative.
that's it. That's it.
Can you
Hey,
hear
Joanne,
me?
yeah,
Yeah,
you
can
now.
hear you. Yeah.
What I said before you left was, in your book, that title that she just said should be one of the chapters in your book. And we'll say it again, Pastor Clay. The backside, say it again.
The backside of the pulpit is dirty,
It ain't dirty, it's filthy.
filthy.
It's
It's
filthy.
definitely
It's
filthy.
It's the
listen,
truth.
I
It's the
learned
truth.
so much and saw so much and did not know that lifestyle was so prevalent in the church. And I
Oh
know
yes.
I know a first lady that I talked to in the midst of me going through. And one of them I talked to her husband. I don't even think that he knew what fidelity was. I don't even think that was a part of his repertoire. He was just out there. But I talked to another first lady who was going through the same thing I went through, and her exact words to me were, I don't care what he does. He's going to take care of me for the rest of my life. And when he
God.
stops, then I'm going to reveal it all. I said, well, if that's the life you want to live, so be it. But
Wow.
I can't do
No,
that.
I can't.
I'm not doing that.
I can't.
But they
do
live in separate homes. But on Sundays, they come together. You would think they were a dynamic duo. I was like, that takes a lot of work because it
It
took a
does.
lot of work for me to sit up there. And then you would have the deacons and everybody else trying to knock you in the floor. Listen, I have no reason to fall on the floor. Y'all, if y'all knew what I was going through, you would leave me alone. That's what you would do.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Crazy, man.
Yeah. Present a facade. Yeah.
You know, but when you think about this for a minute, you got to think about the fact of how strong of a woman Joanne really is.
Mm-hmm.
Because most people cannot function clearly through that kind of pain,
Yes.
through that kind of revelation. You know, how do you really handle bad revelation after bad revelation after bad revelation after bad and still be able to take it? So one thing about Joanne, you see, she was able to create her exit plan with a clear head, even though there was so much cloudiness coming in.
Yeah.
Part of her mind was clear enough to meticulously create an exit plan where, you know, and let's say like this, you know, a lot of times in relationships, let's just say relationships in general, you know, somebody's messing up, that you, whatever they're doing, you know, and you just found out something. And a lot of times what you just found out is it's itching you so bad. And you know you should hold it. You know you should just keep your mouth quiet, but you got to say something.
Mm-hmm.
This way that she handled it shows, no, you don't have to say something.
Right.
Take it, get your information, get your all your evidence, live peaceably. Don't let it cloud your mind, but so much, and create the proper exit plan. Sometimes you have to hurt through the hurt.
Yes. Yes.
You see, you have to hurt through the hurt.
yep.
But just know that on the other side, you see,
Ooh.
that, you know, all I have to do is make it to the other side. Listen, you know, that's why the song says that it says that truth says this, that we've been made endure for a night.
A night.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to make it through the night. And your night could be a lot of one nights.
Mm-hmm.
It could be a lot of that. But you got to understand that when you get finished weeping, joy is coming. And in your mind, all you got to focus on the fact that even though I'm hurting right now, even though I'm going through right now, in the morning,
Yeah.
not sure which morning,
Yeah.
but one of these mornings,
Yeah.
joy is definitely coming.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
It's coming. It's coming. It's
And
coming.
I tell you, when I went to divorce court, finally, he didn't even show up.
Mm-hmm.
And the judge said, "What is it that you want?" I said, "You know what I want?" Because I could have cleaned out his bank account, took his house, took everything, the cars. I said, "You know what I want, sir? All I want is my last name back. Because I don't want to
Yes.
have to pay a lawyer to get that back. That's all I want." And that's all I took from it.
Yes.
Was a
Yes.
lesson and my last name. That's all
That's
I wanted
it.
back.
Wow, a lesson.
Yeah.
No, Joy, that's
another
another chapter.
That's
That's another chapter.
Yeah.
A lesson and my last name.
That's
Yeah.
all I wanted.
My God.
Yeah.
That's
Yes,
All I
ma'am.
wanted.
well, Apostle Clay, listen, I know it's 8:02. Listen, we gotta go just a little teeny bit longer. We got another third thing to do, but let's give it a little bit more. But start bringing us in on this. I mean, this is just amazing tonight. I wish we had just now started.
I know. It's been rich. It's been really
I'm
rich
trying
and
to
really great.
tell you,
tonight.
we really have to set a time. I'm gonna talk with Joanne if I gotta send her some flowers or something. I don't know, but I gotta get her to come back and give us that lesson on what was that thing that she said, Downey? She talked about what was that resource thing that she talked about?
The class you talked
Oh,
about.
trauma-informed care.
We need to have a podcast on that trauma-informed care, a whole podcast on that. So
Okay.
we'll talk to her about that by having her come back,
Okay.
and we're going to talk about that because people need to know about that. But go ahead, Pastor Claire. What's our next topic?
For the next topic is the resources. We talked about resources and making sure we provided people with resources tonight. Last week we talked about making sure that you don't Google when you're looking for an outlet. Make sure you use the domestic abuse sites because they actually have a safe exit. So make sure you use those. These are some things that are very common as a protective device. We've heard of stun guns, a pocket knife, the key ring that has the actual alarm and the whistle, and one that has a glass breaker. So if you're caught in a car and being held hostage, mace or pepper spray, and then this INVI bracelet. It has a chemical in it that when you separate the bracelet, it gives off a very defensive smell.
Foul odor.
Very, very. So that's another way that those bracelets, all of this stuff that you see on the screen can be got at Amazon. A lot of it can be purchased at Walmart. And you can also get it at Damsel in Defense. That's where I purchased a lot of my things from Damsel in Defense. That organization was started because of a sister started that organization because her sister was killed due to domestic violence many years ago. So they have all type of resources. They have stun guns, they have knives, they have purses that have the secret pockets for handguns, if that's what you choose. But there's a lot of resources out there and that you can get as a protective measure in a relationship or just as a resource for if you're out and about as a single person. We wanted to make sure you had those. Go to the library, check your local organizations that's in the area that you're in and what state you're in. Make sure you have those resources, and always the National Coalition Against Domestic Abuse. They can connect you with resources in your area. Those were the other topics that we wanted to talk about tonight. Next week, we've talked about issues of domestic abuse in the church. And we know that not everyone is saved. And there's some people that still walk this earth that have not met Jesus. So we don't want to leave anyone out when we share this information. So we want to dedicate next week to sharing with people testimonies of people and showing you how and helping you understand how we can get out of this. Because a lot of the topic has been around the church, and we've had several people ask, is this just for church only? No. We chose that topic because we are leaders in the church. But we want everyone to know that if you're in this type of situation, we want to give you the resources to help you through this journey. And as you prepare for the next season of your life with an exit, we want to help you navigate that with the resources that we can provide from a national, local, or state level. All right, Apostle Hill.
Yeah, I mean that's where we are, man. We like you say, it's not just for people in church, because people are experiencing this everywhere. The church, the world, it doesn't matter where they are. We want to try to reach them. Next week, it's gonna get real. It's gonna get like next week is gonna kind of be like a real adults only kind of talk, man, because we're just gonna really just put some stuff out there. We're gonna just be real and right, real and raw and right. One of the things that even in and Joanne, she talked about, she'll be back in a minute. We're gonna let her close us out when she comes back, right?
I'm actually here. I'm just I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
okay,
My dad got up, but I'm here.
Yeah,
I can hear
you go and deal with that. You good.
I'm here.
All right. So and she talked about the capacity of her because she was the Medea of Baltimore. She's a gun-toting first lady, and she, many of you know what I do for a living, and some don't, but some do. But those that do know that there's training. Back in the day, even coming out of high school back in the day, I was always a martial arts instructor, and I kept up with that, and I always kept up with self-defense because this is part of my job, what I do, right? And I've always kept up with a lot of up-to-date things about self-defense, about pressure points, about how to handle somebody who's trying to handle you. And one of the people I spoke to this week was one of the women in Baltimore. She has it's called Shogun Karate Dojo. She's a woman, and we talked about being able to get women into her class to learn self-defense. I'm gonna just give you this short thing about self-defense. One of the main things that I teach, and I still do teach some people that work in my field when we have meetings with all of our guys and trainings, I teach them what's called close quarters combat, right? But one of the main things that I teach them in the self-defense is 3 things: vision, breathing, balance. Vision, breathing, balance. This is 3 key things that we teach in the Harbor. And these are the 3 things that women that you have to keep thinking about. If you're attacked, if you're anything, the first thing that should come into your mind is those 3 words: vision, breathing, and balance. I really want you women to remember that. If you're ever going to be attacked, and I may even post a short video up about domestic violence when we talk about defense. I may even post a short video of what I mean by vision, breathing, and balance. What I mean by vision and breathing and balance is that if you're ever attacked, if you're ever accosted, the one thing you want to think about is vision. Most women have fingernails, right? They have long feet, have these sharp pointed fingernails. First thing we're gonna do is vision. Disrupt the person's vision. That's the first thing. Disrupt the vision. Don't listen to this crap people tell you, oh, grab him by the what. No, that ain't gonna work because he's gonna try to guard that. Okay, so don't even think that way. You want to think vision, breathing, balance. You want to take them nails or whatever you don't have to get it. You want to dig into those eyes because you want to disrupt the vision. If you can't see, he won't know what to do. Right. Next thing you want to do is vision. What's the next one? Breathing. Take those nails. Boom. This is what you want to hit him in the throat. Hit him in the throat with your nails. Anything. Vision. Disrupt the breathing. Now I gotta get my eyes. Now I can't breathe. And then the balance is where you would kick them in the shin or somewhere. And then you want to go for those private eyes. That's gonna be the balance because now you want to knock them off balance. You see? So you got vision, breathing, and balance. Always think those 3 things. Disrupt the vision, disrupt the breathing, and even if you got to dig in the eyes, another disrupt the vision, and you have this mace, right? Now, once you mace them, that's the breathing. They can't breathe, right? And if only those who work, that gives you enough time to get away. Okay. You see, certain things we'll teach, certain things we'll talk about. You want to say one more thing, Pastor Clay, before we turn it over to Joanne for the close?
I'm good tonight.
All right, Joanne, we want you to come back and just really give us a nice little closing, something we're going to talk about. Listen to our closing. And I really want to just thank you so much for coming on tonight.
Absolutely.
Joanne, what you said was so important. I mean, I hope that really opened up a lot of people's eyes. I'm gonna definitely prepare a transcript for tonight from our lesson on tonight. So, Joanne, if you're still there, if you got a minute to come back in, when you do, go ahead and close us out and give us some nuggets of information as we close out tonight. Uh-oh. You're gone again. You're gone again. Go out and come back in. You have to go out and come back in again. I still don't hear you. Okay, she'll be right back. But give us a little close to Apostle Clay.
I just want to thank everyone for continuously joining in with us and getting the information. And please share. This is so vital. I never, you hear about domestic abuse, as you're growing up, but then being a survivor of domestic abuse and just taking that responsibility of sharing and reaching out to that next person. Please share the information that we have discussed here these last 3 weeks. Please share it with someone and invite them on with us.
All right, Joanne, there you go.
Can you hear me?
Yep, we got you.
Okay, sorry about that. I had to deal with my dad.
No problem. Oh man, I think we lost you again. I think we lost you again. This ain't nothing but the devil. This ain't nothing but the
I tell
devil.
you, somebody is
telling
being delivered
I'm
tonight.
telling you, man, this ain't nothing but
Somebody's
the
being
enemy.
delivered tonight.
All night, her mic didn't have any issues, any problems. But I'm
No.
trying to tell you, she gave us so much good, and they ain't just
Yes.
nuggets, man. That was no nugget.
Yes.
That was not a nugget. What Jordan gave us tonight, that was a
Can-
whole daggone chicken.
Can
Yes,
you
it
hear me?
was.
I
Yes.
got you.
Oh no, I just want to say thank you for inviting me, and it's been a blessing. Hopefully, my experiences can bless somebody else's life. I don't promote weapons because that's just not. But I mean, there are things to keeping yourself safe and keeping your mind safe and helping the National Domestic Violence Hotline that's always available for anybody, and that number is 1-800-799-7233.
Well, give that number again because I do want her to put that up on the screen.
1-800-799-7233. I will say that at
1-800-799. Say it again, Joe.
1-800-799-7233, or wherever you're calling from, whatever state. Most local agencies have victim advocates, they have domestic violence units, House of Ruth, those things. Keeping something always together, sharing your location with somebody that you can trust.
Yep.
I mean, we all have iPhones, we all have Samsungs. I share my location with my brother, just so people will always know where you are, and just keeping yourself safe. But thank you so much for inviting me and being able to talk about this and talk about different aspects of domestic violence in the church.
Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
Go ahead, Pastor Clay. Say your last closing. We're gonna close out. Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to tell her thank you so much for coming on. We greatly appreciate you.
Man,
no
we really
problem.
do. Thank you so much. Thank you
And
so
I
much.
look forward to coming to see you one day in Nashville. I'll be there soon.
All right, let me know. Let me know.
I like Nashville. I'll be there soon.
All right, guys. Listen, thank everybody. I appreciate y'all. Thank everybody that came in tonight.
Just want to tell you. Just want
Everybody,
to
y'all can start dropping out when y'all want to drop out. But if y'all would just take another couple more minutes as you begin to leave, and we're going to just drop off the stage for a minute. But we'll be here and take a couple minutes before you leave and just let this worship bless you. This is very rich tonight, and we thank her so much for coming on tonight. God bless y'all. And as usual, and as we say, we love all of y'all, and we will see you guys right here next week. Same place, same time, on Thursdays from 7 to 8. Looking forward to seeing you here. God bless everybody. See you soon.
see y'all. Just want to give up. Me, Satan. How can I live without you? How can I live without you? Keep on loving me. How can I live without you? 'Cause you keep. The only reason I'm here is because you. I should have been dead sleeping in my grave, but you. I ran out of grace a long time ago. I ran out of grace, but you keep on, keep on, keep on, keep on. Keep on loving. Keep on Yeah, you kept on blessing me. This I recall to my mind, therefore I have hope. It's because of your mercy we are not consumed. Because I compare, take a new. Great is thy faithfulness. Keep on loving me. You keep on. This done turned into a house party. I'm trying not to get y'all get out of them seats real quick. You keep. Let's go. I'm so sorry. You keep on up. Last one. I could never repay you, Lord, for what you done for me. How you loose my shackles and you set me free. How you made a way out of no way. Turn my darkness into day. Been my... You've been, you, Lord. One more time. I can never repay you, Lord, for what you done for me. How you, hey, how you made a way. Hey, you've been my hey, peace. I can never repay. I can never repay. How you loose? Made a way. You've been. Keep on loving. Keep on. Keep on. I gotta go. One more. You keep on loving. Everything you do is right. You keep on. Everything you do is right. Never repay you, Lord, for what you've done for me. Loose my shackles and you set me free. Made a way out of no. My darkness in the day. Been my joy in the you've been. You've been. Lift your hands and tell them, you've been. Oh, yeah. Woo! Rebabandaya. Ebabo. You've been. Stretch your hands this time and sing it to him. You've been.